And we're broadcasting. Wonderful stuff. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second half of the Monstrous pamphlet launch. We are telling you all about this little puppy. It's a beautiful thing. A collection of poems written by Juniper from the point of view of various mythological creatures, fairy tale folk, and just scary ass monsters. It's entirely possible there's some metaphor going on here. We don't know, but I'm going to leave that up to you to make up your own. What poetry with metaphor? Dear God. So yeah, I love this book. It's very Tom in a lot of ways, in that it's obviously very funny as well, very well crafted pieces, but it is also got this underlying current of tragedy, a little bit of rage going on as well, and some of the pieces are incredibly really catchy. There's some real, like I say, real tragedy catching you there in the chest about how these monsters got to where they are. It's very lovely, and as I was saying before the first half, the cover material it's been made with is got this vaguely organic feel to it. It does really feel like it's made out of something that was once or is still alive. Yeah, skin, basically. I was trying to lead over that. No, Tom's going straight into it's skin. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, it's green, bright green skin with a wonderful eerie being on the front there. I'm gonna stop babbling because I can do that for Britain, but I think it's best if we hear from Tom. As I said earlier, the person who we're here because. Thank you, Tom, for making this happen and making the book happen, making all the things happen. And now you're going to give us a selection of your collection. You're going to help me welcome Tom to the big face screen thing. Please welcome to the spotlight, Tom S. Juniper. Go!
Oh, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Faye, and thanks everyone for having me here this evening. I've actually been asked to share some of my findings in the research project that I undertook through the pandemic. Obviously, sociology fieldwork options were limited by lockdown, but by there's a will, there's a way. And while I had hoped to focus my thesis on the experiences of human seldom heard communities, under the circumstances, I decided to shift focus slightly to some very seldom heard voices, almost never, in fact. So I've interviewed some individuals who are often spoken about, but not to or with, those whom our human cultures and societies around the world have quite literally monstered. Obviously, I had to make contact with these communities, but fortunately for me, I'm not the first to do so. And I was able to enlist the help of a wonderful woman doing important work in the dog rehoming and rescue community. Rehoming street dogs can be very challenging and rewarding, but my first interviewee actually goes that extra mile and works hard to find loving homes for some of Britain's more unusual breeds, like black shucks and Gytrashes and padfoots. She agreed to speak to me about a Yorkshire breed that she's been working with recently, and also to introduce me to a family who've recently taken an eldritch rescue into their own home. So let's start with these first couple of interviews. This is So You've Decided to Adopt a Barghest. These spectral hounds have an unsavoury reputation, but with the proper dedication, they can make great family pets. So let's break it down. Buying your Barghest. Avoid back alley Barghest breeders. These are often unscrupulous. Will try to sell you the whelp sight unseen, and instead of a demonic beast with eyes like glowing saucers, there you are, having been sold instead a Rottweiler with conjunctivitis from all the glow-in-the-dark paint. A reputable breeder can be found on your local haunted lane, desolate moor, or ancient beer. Look for a small and evil-tempered gnome. Bring gold. For God's sake, be polite. Settling in. Barghests are not often known to be lapdogs. They prefer to be outdoors, so make sure your new pet has access to food, water, and a secluded spot where mortals fear to walk at night. That said, a cosy blanket by the fire will be appreciated on colder evenings. Training your Barghest. The normal dog training commands, sit, fetch, roll over, stay, are ineffective with this type of breed. Back fiend, Begone! Come, my dread minion, kill! It may sound harsh, but Barguests respond well to their demonic nature being acknowledged. It is important to build a bond with your pet, an unholy bond, like candles. Homemade with human tallow is the best, store-bought will do. Chanting and dark magics every night will help your pet to trust you. Barguests love routine, ritual, rites. Enrichment activities. Walks should be long, take place on misty nights. Remember, Barguests enjoy playing games as much as any other type of dog. Enrichment is important. Unwary lovers walking home, lost travellers and local tall tale tellers can all provide much needed exercise and stimulation. Health. Barguests prefer a raw food diet. The great advantage is this breed's self-feeding. Try not to think about that part too much. Being spectral, Barguests are not heir to the ills of the flesh. A regular checkup at the vet is therefore quite unnecessary, but it's fun. Remember, above all, your Barguest is a very good boy. Oh yes. Oh yes, he is. And to move on to another, not all of these interviews, these poems are in the collection. I've tried to mix it up a little bit so that you've got a variety of voices. This is one that people will not have heard or read if they have got the book. And so this interview was with a somewhat overwhelmed household who have recently taken a Cluddle into their home. Cluddle is a Dutch demon dog who really enjoys torturing humans, but does have a really cute name. He's a good boy, really. Just a soppy old thing, our Cluddle. We thought, well, right, this breed does have a bad reputation, but with careful rehabilitation and a cute name, we'll uncover his natural affection and loyalty. We're pretty sure there's affection and loyalty somewhere in there. Of course, he's a little scamp, always up to mischief, our Cluddle. He started shape-changing at 6 months. There we'd be, expecting his cute little fangy face at the door, and suddenly there's a bat, a frog, a bear, a snake. I nearly had a heart attack the first time. Of course, he's just playing, doesn't mean any harm. Training is going all right. We're pretty sure he's trying really hard, our Cluddle, but recall is still a bit of a challenge, and the other dog owners get twitchy when we let him off the lead. We've told them he's just being playful, doesn't know his own strength. We've had to pay a lot of vet's bills and a few cremation fees. Like all dogs, he can be a stubborn little sod if he thinks walking is finished too early, our Cluddle. His favourite trick is pretending he'd hurt his leg, refusing to move from the spot, so we have to carry him home. And then you'll laugh when you hear this. He makes himself heavier and heavier and heavier. And somehow you just can't put him down. You have to keep going with this terrible weight. I tell myself it's just his way of saying how much he enjoys my cuddles. Sometimes I think we've taken on too much. Perhaps we should have adopted a spaniel or a golden retriever. But we wouldn't be without him now. We know if we just try a bit harder, he'll be a good dog one day. We believe in him. We know he doesn't mean to hurt us. Not really. Not our Cluddle. So we can see here that rehoming monstrous dogs is not an easy undertaking. You really need to devote a lot of, quite literally, blood, sweat and tears to the endeavour. But I was concerned, while these were interesting perspectives, that I was still only hearing from humans, although the dogs did make their feelings known. I was able to make contact with our local Barguest puppy dealer, who had quite a lot to say to me about gnome representation in human culture and some of the quite offensive stereotypes that we perpetuate even today. We're not all of us bearded old buffers with tall pointy hats, but the way we're depicted, of course, you would never know that. You see, representation, it matters, and we've been done wrong. A gnome who's not male, pale and stale doesn't seem to belong. And the fishing rods, where did that come from? It's just a cliche. We're not fishers, we're miners. Well, most of us are anyway. We are underground creatures. We don't stand around on the grass. These ridiculous caricatures are just lacking in class. So don't buy into stereotypes with that pointy hat stuff. If you want good gnome representation, it's easy enough. Just get rid of them ornaments, then you'll be getting it right. If we really came into your garden, we'd stay out of sight. Now, this brings me to an interesting point. It may surprise you that there are quite a number of otherworldly and monstrous business enterprises who interact with the human world. It's more common than you'd think. It does tend to be somewhat unregulated, and as such doesn't tend to be spoken about openly. However, I did find a particularly dark and cobwebbed corner of the dark web where these goods are advertised, and I came across some enlightening advertisements. This is Redcap. 100% authentic handmade headwear. Support traditional craftsmanship. Our dyes are made from the planet unwearing travellers. Sustainably sourced, all local, of course, obtained through a top secret, centuries-old process of cutting mortal throats, which actually reduces carbon footprint. Kind to the earth and totally biodegradable. Unfortunately, vegan options are currently unavailable. Well, some might have been vegan. Don't believe us? Come see for yourself. We welcome visits from humans to the public to our charming traditional workshops, all housed in abandoned ruins, reclaimed heritage sites. A day out you'll never come back from. Forget. Redcap headwear, keeping the old ways alive by killing humans. So yeah, that's a lovely bit of traditional handicraft work that's going on in the north of England. Bit further afield, this is an Arabic advertisement, I think I can call it, for Ungula. And Ungula translates literally as mother ghoul, and has could possibly be compared to something like sirens in Greek mythology, as a seductive, shape-changing female monster who basically wants to eat you. Hot ghouls in your area. These seductive temptresses are hungry for you to come over for dinner, and maybe more. These sweet and smiling girls can transform themselves into whatever your heart most desires, and then between the sheets you'll find them ready for you. Rapacious, wild, voracious. Are you the man to satisfy their needs? Why not find out tonight? Call 1-800-UMGULA and let our luscious ladies show you what they're really like behind closed doors. Umgula, satisfaction guaranteed. Now, trying to bring it back more, perhaps to a more family-friendly place. These things do exist, so we need to talk about them. But let's look at some childcare options that I found. Many monsters do interact quite a lot with children, and this is some testimonies from satisfied parents. This is called Bloody Bones. Bryce, age 6, said a swear word to his mummy. He heard it from his brother and he thought it sounded funny. Now poor little Brycey is dead and going rotten. He swore at his mummy and Bloody Bones got him. Selena, age 8, called her sister Stinky Poo Face. There's nothing left of her now but one single shoelace. The rest has all been gobbled up, not one bit saved for later. She called her sister nasty names and Bloody Bones ate her. Adnan would have been 10 in a week, but there's no party. He laughed at his nannyma and said she smelled all farty. Out jumped Bloody Bones and swallowed him whole. He was mean to his nannyma and had to pay the toll. He lives in the cupboard just underneath the stairs, and if you say nasty things, he'll catch you unawares. He sits on the bloody bones of kids who weren't polite, and if you behave like them, he'll eat you up in one bite. Now, this paints a grim picture, but it is surprising how many parents utilise the services of monsters as a deterrent to poor behaviour for their children. Some monsters do offer these services with pleasure, although it is important to fully read the payment terms and conditions before entering any sort of agreement. However, there are others who rather resent being exploited as a childcare resource for a variety of reasons. So this is Jenny Greenteeth. Do I look like a bloody health and safety officer to thee? A cautionary tale to keep children away from dangerous waters? Go with that rubbish. Stop telling your sons and your daughters not to play by the stream. Stay away from the lake because of me. Let the kiddies play where they want to. Some of us round here have got to eat. You don't even like the little buggers. I've heard you. Stop plaguing my life out. Stop being annoying. Be quiet. Go sit over there. There's so many running about. I'm sure you've got plenty to spare. So no more of this. Don't go near old Jenny Green Teeth. Don't play on slippery banks. Beware of that pondweed that looks like a meadow. Tell them to come see the lovely green fairy. I'll take them all off your hands. And another conversation I had was with an ogre, and these are awkward questions, but I asked her, do you eat children? Are the rumours true? This was somewhat misunderstood. Oh, not for me, thanks. I'm trying to cut down. I'm just not comfortable with it, you know? I'm trying to make more ethical decisions. Oh, I'm not judging you. Don't be like that. It's personal, my choice. I just don't like the moral implications of this diet. Why eat the naughty children after all? Some kid breaks a window, gets in fights, won't eat its vegetables, won't go to bed, and suddenly that makes it edible? I'm sorry, that does not seem right to me. So from now on, I'm trying to eat cleaner and only put good things inside my body, wholesome and ethical and toxin-free. So now, when I eat children for my supper, I take the ones who always do their homework, the ones who help old ladies cross the road. I think that if you're going to eat meat, you'd want it to have led a decent life. And like I say, it's my choice. I'm not saying that every ogre needs to be like me, but speaking for myself, I have decided to try, where possible, to eat good food. Now, I was shocked, I probably shouldn't have been, to find that despite there's a common trope in our culture of fairies cheating humans in their bargains, gold turning into yellow leaves at sunrise, things like that. In fact, it's at least as common to find that humans are likely to cheat their otherworldly business partners, as this really quite irate Boggart told me. Don't make fairy bargains. No, don't take fairy gold, for fairies love to cheat you. Oh, that's what you've been told. Those sneaky little goblins and tricky little elves, they're all of them dishonest and nothing like yourselves. Now, there was once a farmer who lived upon my land, and though I'd been there longest, I offered friendship's hand. I said I had no problem with humans farming there. My only stipulation, I had to have my share. Although he wasn't happy, the farmer soon assented. A split of 50-50. The bargain was cemented. He asked me would I rather take that which grows unseen or that which sprouts above the land. I chose the first. I mean, he mostly grew potatoes and barley, he'd explained, and baked potatoes sweeter than any pile of grain. But then the lying bastard sowed every single field with corn and wheat and barley, so stubble was my yield. I can't say I was happy. I thought it was a shame, but in the end, I was impressed. Game recognises game. So I forgave the farmer and once more chose my crop. Instead of what's beneath the soil, I'll take what grows on top. I should have known. It's foolish to make a deal with thieves. Next year, I had a harvest of damn potato leaves. So don't make fairy bargains, and I will tell you why. If you make one with humans, the bastards bleed you dry. This leads me to the fact that human mining efforts can also cause irritation and anger in the underworld. Two accounts should serve us to remind us that we should behave in a certain way, especially when we are in another creature's territory. This is a goblin's lament. Yes, we love gold, the way it shines in candlelight, below the earth where so few things are ever bright, and silver too, rubies and diamonds, all of these are beautiful. You think you have the right to seize and mangle them, to wear as crowns upon your heads, to decorate your sunburned, pudgy forms. Who said that you could take our treasure that's no use to you and then accuse us of the things that humans do? You hoard our gems and gold. You lock it all away. You fight for it. You even kill. And then you say that goblin kind is the epitome of greed. You steal our gold because you want the things we need. You have so much out in the sun where flowers bloom, but still you steal our only beauty in the gloom. And when we fight to save the things we love, we're told that we are cruel and covetous for loving gold. Perhaps a more pragmatic response to human mining efforts. This comes from the Knocker. who can be found in various coal mines around the country. Just leave me the end of that pasty. You're not going to finish all that. If you want to find the best coal seam, you cannot afford to get fat. So just leave me a bit of the pasty and maybe a bit of the meat, and I'll be a sign of good fortune. I only want something to eat. It's not just too much to ask, just a tribute, acknowledging this is my space. And you're a guest, not a burglar. It's really a way to save face. Because if you are going to come down here and not even leave me a snack and take all my coal to the surface, well, you better be watching your back. I know where the mine is unstable. I know where the air is turned bad. And if I should choose, I am able to make all your relatives sad. So just leave me a bit of the pasty and I'll leave the tunnels unblocked, because all it would take to collapse them is the tiniest, tiniest knock. Well, this does bring me to a more painful area in my research. It's not just matters of business and industry where monsters have been treated badly. And sadly, the worst affected are monsters who are actually born into human families. And this can happen for a variety of reasons. And those monsters who find themselves in that situation are very rarely treated well. So content note on the next few interviews for familial abuse and neglect. You'll notice I didn't give content notes, and I apologize for literal death and killing, but I kind of thought monsters do that, and it was implied in the title, but I should have thought more carefully about that. So apologies if that was upsetting for anybody. So this is Striga. We were born ready to bite. My mother feared to suckle us. So sharp were our teeth, so pointed, so bright, but still we tried hard to be good. Well, a part of us did. Her. Not me. There were always two parts to us, you see. The dutiful daughter was never enough, not for them. Though she tried, they said they could see my gleam in her eyes. It wasn't their fault, she would say. Of course they were cruel to her, to me. They'd never asked for a child with a demon inside. I offered to lend her my hunger, my rage, but she said that she wanted their love. She refused. So she lived her life patiently, hated, abused, and I, who'd have fought every battle for her, always trapped in a cage. But they knew I was there. They had seen that first smile, seen that razor-sharp grin. They told her that they knew exactly what waited within. Then the plague came. I really believe they were glad when we sickened, although they pretended to all of the neighbours to be very sad. But the look on my mother's face, it wasn't exactly disguised. That's the last thing that we ever saw, the relief in our own mother's eyes. Because yes, the plague took us. At least it took her, the good girl, the daughter who tried to hide her double nature. She died and left me alone, suffocating, the cage she built to keep them safe from me disintegrating. And now I am free. I am no longer us, I am me. And perhaps if my parents had shown any love to their double-souled daughter, perhaps for her sake I could still rise above all the anger and sorrow and urge to attack, but they didn't. She's gone, and now I'm coming back. And another quite a troubling account of a child of a monstrous child, if you like, of a human mother. The Hulda are a Swedish phenomenon. They are said to be the hidden children, the children that Eve decided to hide from God when he came to visit her. It's possible you haven't heard about me. My mum was a God-fearing woman, you see, and I'm talking hardcore, like biblical guilt. Apparently, every last thing was her fault, including us. Some of my siblings and I, we never could please her. We really did try, but she said we were dirty. Not all of us, though. What the difference she saw was, I really don't know. But some of us were just disgusting to her. When God came to visit, the ones she preferred, they were proudly presented, all shining and clean, while the rest of us quietly waited unseen. We tried not to hate her, at least not at first. She wanted the best for us. She had been cursed, so we were corrupt and unworthy of love. But she tried to protect us from wrath from above. I don't think that Mum ever quite understood that respectable isn't the same thing as good. But God saw us anyway, cowering, forbidden, and said to our mother that we must stay hidden from her. Nevermore must we come in her sight. I think in her mind this just proved she was right, and we were unclean in the eyes of the Lord, and although we existed, were better ignored. Oh, but mother, you're wrong. If you'd look, we're still there, not hidden and dirty, but shining elsewhere. There are, of course, monsters who seek out, who seek out human company for a variety of reasons. Again, some of them more disturbing than others. And it's not, you can't always trust the first thing that's said to you by monsters, as you can't about monsters. So this is a troll. I can't go outside when the sun is too bright. My skin turns to stone when exposed to the light. I'm not very clever and not very fast. In a contest of wits, I will always come last. I'm easily recognised, ugly as sin. You're not really in danger from me and my kin. So cross over my bridge and explore in my cave. Since the risk is so small, you don't need to be brave. I've got very sharp teeth. I can see in the dark. I can smell human blood just as well as a shark. And if I'm being honest, I don't like your odds. I'm a child of the Yutnar who terrorized gods. But to keep you complacent was always my goal. So please, don't be afraid of a stupid old troll. And next we have another, a more modern in many ways, a monster. I suppose it's a strange way of putting it, but this is a monster you might have heard about at summer camp or on sleepovers and things like that. This is Bloody Mary. I'm watching you, not just in mirrors, but always in mirrors, in any reflection, a window, your laptop, the screen you are watching right now there. You see me? Not quite, not entirely. That movement behind you, peripheral vision, your face, and then something you can't quite account for. Perhaps you've imagined it. That's where I'm waiting. And wouldn't you like to be sure, to be certain you're not going crazy? There really was something. Don't worry. It's easy. You just have to call me. You know that you want to. You know that you're wondering. Just say my name. Say it over and over. I'm here in the mirror. But you've got to call me, or you'll never know, and you know you like knowing. So give it a try. What's the worst that could happen? Just call me. Just call me. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. As we can guess from these, unfortunately, some monster-human interactions can't be said to end particularly well for humans, but treating all of a community as a monolith can in fact lead to misunderstandings, and in this case to benevolent monsters being tarred with the same brush as the more bitey ones. A good example of this is sea serpents who actually want to help being treated quite rudely by sailors. Hello, welcome to the deepest part of the ocean. Well, not this top bit. If your ship was actually in the deepest part of the ocean, you'd probably be pretty upset right now. Actually, you do look pretty upset right now. What's the matter? Tough voyage? I know how it can be for you sailors. You're not off course, are you? Not that I'm not pleased to see you. We don't often get ships in this neck of the woods. I said that to put you at your ease. I have no idea what a woods is, although I am something of authority on neck. Oh, for goodness sake, what's all this shouting in aid of? I'm only trying to be hospitable. What are you doing? Ow! Well, really, burning arrows. I call that rude, and also very stupid. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's an awful lot of water around here, and I'm literally swimming in it. As a weapon, fire isn't really going to cut it. Is this about all the ships that have sunk round here? I'm to blame for storms and drunken captains, I suppose. Always nice to have a scapegoat when you've got to explain what happened to all that cargo. Oh, it wasn't us, Governor. It was the big... It wasn't us It wasn't us buggering up the navigation, Governor. It was the big nasty sea serpent one done it. Typical. I had been going to tell you all about the whirlpool up ahead and the school of murderous giant squid who were laying wait for ships just like yours, but I might just as well keep my advice to myself and let you find out about them on your own. Honestly, you try to be civil and what do you get? Good day to you, sirs. I said good day. And also there's the obvious issue of erasure in minority communities and people who are not easily seen. And I suppose if you are white furred and live in an area with a lot of white backgrounds, it's understandable, but nonetheless, I did get the chance to speak to a rather hurt Yeti over Zoom, obviously, because traveling to Mount Everest was not an easy thing to do. It's baffling. They come here and queue for hours and hours just to get the chance to climb for climbing's sake alone, and mostly just this mountain. I don't know why it's special. There's many other mountains here, but they all choose the one I live on. I was frightened at first. I thought they'd come here to find, perhaps to kill me, but that wasn't it at all. They seem to just like climbing as high as they can manage. They're really quite inept at it, and thousands of them fall. They never seem to notice me watching as they struggle to reach the highest point of all and then go down again. Sometimes I leave them footprints to find outside their campsite to see if they will realise, but always they explain that this is just a bear track, a prank, an indentation left by some falling debris or some other explanation. It cannot be a Yeti, they reassure each other. Believing in the Yeti would be cause for consternation and ridicule. It's madness caused by fatigue and hunger. The thought I might be up here is just too much for them to bear. One day, I'll leave the mountain, go down into their country, and when I find it, I'll pretend that none of them are there. Now, in conclusion, it's understandable that so many monsters, like humans who find themselves monstered by other humans, choose to avoid mainstream human society. It's an understandable reaction to being othered and rejected. I was fortunate to have the very rare opportunity to speak to a trow from Orkney. They have specifically requested that you do not try to find them, and as such, this message is not endorsed by the Tourist Board of Orkney. You say I'm shy. I say, maybe I just don't want to talk to you. You're not really all that interesting to me. I don't do small talk with small-minded folk. You say I'm rarely seen. I say, maybe you're just not looking hard enough. I see you all the time. Too much, if anything. I can't help it if you always look right through me. You say I'm ugly. I say, well, that's a bold claim from somebody who just said they never see me. Somebody whose idea of beauty comes from magazines. The day I look pretty to you, I'll get a makeover. You say I'm mischievous. I say if you can't take a joke, maybe you shouldn't be the one calling me ugly. I've got a sophisticated sense of humour. Not my fault if it goes over your head. You say it's unlucky to see me, but auspicious to hear my voice. I say hark at you with your fancy words. Auspicious, free music more like. As long as I stay out of sight and don't frighten the horses, you're happy enough to listen to my song and not give me the credit. Is that it? You say I'm magical. I say fair enough. I'll give you that. More magical than you will ever be. Now, that just about concludes my presentation. So I'm really sorry. Someone's at the door. Just give me 1 second. Well, yeah, sure. Just right. Just had a request. Apparently, there's a poem that I've missed off the off the roster that really needs to be heard. I'm slightly worried that they know where I live now. Might have to invest in some iron. You have forgotten us. That much is clear. You have a vague idea of beauty, maybe wisdom. Sometimes there'll be a quality that blesses one of your own. You'll say that one possesses elfid charm. And so we know there is the vestige of a memory of us. You like to use our name in vain these days. We never slaved away to make your toys. We watch your children, yes, but not to see if they are how well behaved they are. We do not care if they are nice or naughty. We will take the ones we like the look of as we please. You hang no iron horseshoe on your door and do not seem to fear us anymore. Your accidents and ailments you explain away with science. Once upon a time, you humans understood who was to blame and showed respect. But now you have no fear of elves. We're pretty stories that you tell to comfort children, entertain yourselves. But are you happier forgetting who we are when after all we're with you still? You can't escape, no matter what you do. For we are elves and we remember you. Thank you very much.
Spotlight off. Wow, that was fabulous. I didn't know you were going to do ones from like the extended edition kind of things. That was very exciting for me, for everyone
Yeah,
else as well.
yeah, I should explain. I'm hoping to make this be a sort of full-length show at some point, so I will be using more of the poems. Maybe there'll be more books in the future with like Monsters 2. I haven't decided quite how that's going to work yet, but yes, some of the poems that you've heard today are in the book and some of them are not, and there's only one way to find out.
See, oh, do get the book. The book is beautiful, and you get stickers.
Possibly. If I remember to put stickers in, you get stickers.
You know, well, yeah, we get stickers. Yeah, so you get one which is basically the cover of the book in sticker form. Terrifying. And the other one, did other people get these? I hope so. Just keep reading stories with a mushroom like that. So yeah, stickers will be yours. That was amazing, Tom. That was all of the things that I promised people and more. It was funny and touching and scary. Literally had chills at various points going, right then. Yikes. Oh, we're going to be putting some milk out the front soon. But yeah, thank you so much, folks. Can we help thank Tom again for that? Because that was just beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to put the link for where you can get the book in the chat again. For people who are accessing this from other places, your best bet is probably to find me on Twitter. Oh, you've done that stuff.
Done that on the
brilliant. And I can find them up. Oh no.
Go find Tom on Instagram and Twitter. You're Tom_S_Juniper, aren't you? Yes. So that's how you find Tom. Find out more about his amazing stuff. That was lush. Thank you so much. So do have a check in the chat, Tom, because yeah, there are lots of people going and flailing. There's some real beauty in there, and if you're wondering if the framework worked, I'd say hell yes.
Oh, good.
That worked really nicely. Yeah, definitely.
I think it works better when I at least know that the people who are listening have coming back to hear sort of something to do with monsters and folklore, rather than people expecting not that and then me giving them that. I think I may have caused slight bafflement and confusion. But yeah,
in Newcastle, wasn't it? Yes, but that's fine. It's all good. We were definitely prepped for monsters and folkloric creatures. Yeah, there's a link in the chat. I've put a link in the various Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. They will stay up for a month, and then we'll be taking that down so that folk can do what they like with that. Yeah, this has been a lush evening. From Tim again with the scary and the okay, I've got all the little hair standing up. That's very good. You know, quality violence there. Thank you, Tim. And also comeuppance for at least one aspect of an elder Slavic goddess and all that kind of good stuff. So could we have a round of appreciation in whichever form you would like to bestow it upon Tim Ralphs, because that is really amazing. Thank you. Go look for him on Twitter and Instagram and on his website, and there's a link to sign up to hear more about his stuff there too. And we had an entire show's worth nearly from Tom there. Beautiful framing structure and all the little kind of touches with the glasses and different voices, which I think a lot of us weren't expecting.
I was
That was very
trying
cool.
something out. I don't know how well it succeeded, but yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah,
Someone who's
I'd
fussy.
love to say that the glasses is a affectation that I did as an academic thing, but it's actually because I've bent my glasses and they're too loose now.
Well, I don't know if it worked really well.
Adjust that for you. I took mine in once and they put it on the machine.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I accidentally slept on them, and now they do this.
Oh
no.
Yeah, no, that's not good. See, this is why I spend a little bit extra and get the bendy ones. But we'll just do that because I've met me before. Anyway, I would like you all to help me while we're all just still on the same track. Thank and appreciate Thomas Juniper for this lovely day. It's an amazing evening and some genuinely terrifying, tragic and hilarious monsters. That's so many of my favorites in there. It's great, including ones, as we said, they didn't make it in the book, but I'd already seen. Oh, so exciting. So yeah, thank you to everyone who came to the Zoom. Thank you to everyone who's been watching us on the live stream. We're going to stop the live stream now. We won't stop this if you want to stay on and chat. This is very much, you know, it's not like we just kick you out straight away. You'd stay and chat at the bar, you'd wander out and all the rest of that kind of thing. So we're doing exactly the same kind of thing. Let's call it an after party if you're feeling fancy. And yeah, have a chance to tell Tom and Tim how amazing that was. So we'll catch you again the next allographic event. Folks, do look us up on social media. We're just generally allographic with an A at the end. Various different platforms, and yeah, take care. We'll see all of you live streamers soon.